Hello and welcome to this week's special episode of Pro Landscaper TV. Our lives are increasingly becoming easier due to technology, and now that's translating into the workplace too. This week, in the first of a new series, we are speaking with Luke Mills, the owner of Hampshire-based The Landscape Service, a garden and landscape design practice. Luke is a previous winner of a Pro Landscaper 30 Under 30 The Next Generation Award, and has since gone on to successfully launch his own business. The Landscape Service is one of the few companies in the UK that offers a virtual reality design service, which allows Luke and his team to transport his clients into their new garden design. In this episode, we explore how the VR technology works in a garden design practice. We discuss the process of the design, we'll take a look at the actual hardware, and we'll find out whether Luke thinks more garden designers and landscape architects should offer this service.
So it works really well. So it's great with clients, it's great with tech, and it works by basically using your software, creating panoramic views, and then just exporting it into a headset. It's a short way of doing it. Vectorworks is probably the best way to use it, followed by a collaboration with Lumion, and then Oculus VR headset, which I tend to use, and it's very straightforward in theory. So from the very outset, we basically produce like a 2D design, pretty much like every designer does, and then we always add on like VR as optional extra. And it's quite straightforward. So you build like a model in Vectorworks, very rudimentary, very simple, just blocks and colours, and then you put it into Lumion, which is basically the textured side of things, and then you export it as a panoramic image, and then you just put it into your headset, and then from that we take it to the client, and then you just put them where you want the view to start, put the headset on them, and away you go. And it's brilliant because you don't really have to explain so much. You just let the client absorb everything and just get stuck in. And it's, rather than having, sometimes you can have a difficult conversation, maybe trying to explain a plan to somebody who doesn't understand 2D plans, but everyone understands what a garden looks like through their own eyes. So the next step is, once you've exported a panoramic image from the software, there it is, saved on the desktop. Looks a bit weird. You plug in your VR headset, like so, and open up the shared device. Click on something like Pictures, and then you can just drag and drop in there. And it's basically uploaded it to the VR headset. So it's as simple as that, and as soon as you've done that, unplug it, put it on, select the image, and then you can see it in VR. Okay, so this is a 3D model and VR project, and so I was going to talk you through the design process basically. So I'll show you what we started with, which was a 2D plan, which is on the left screen, like so. That's a very broken down version of it, and then made a copy of it, made a 3D model, like so. And it's done very simply by just taking a square or a rectangle and making it into a 3D object and then giving it a colour. Do that with all of the objects and all of like the house and paving and planting areas, etc. And we then use that to put all the decorative stuff, if you like, into Lumion. So there's a little tool up here, it's called a plug-in tool. So when you click on that, and then you pan around, he says, one sec. There we go, so it'll mirror it on the other piece of software to the right, which is Lumion. So when you zoom in, you can just simply just click on a material, or click on it, so we've got a hedge there. So we can change that to, let's just say we want to change that to a rock for whatever. There we go, that's a rock. and then you can change it back to grass or hedge. So you simply do that with all of the other materials. So instance here we've got a path there, we've got 3D lawn there, water there, and then on the right here you have a little camera. So you click the photo, and you can basically just take a photo of that, and then you can render that as a photo, and then that's your 3D visual. And another thing you can do is you create a 3D panorama. So there's a little tool there called 3D panorama. You create your panorama just by clicking on it, and then there's a little button here called render. So it's basically exporting an image. So export, desktop, call it whatever you like. Show you that in a sec. And then you can also have videos as well, so this is quite straightforward. You just image from, just click record, click a picture, 2, 3, 4, and then you have a video. You move the frame every photo, then you have a walkthrough video. Simple as that, and you export. Yeah, very much. Not only with the garden, but with just the tech itself. So sometimes you have to like try and focus them to concentrate on the garden and not the actual tech and thinking about buying one of the headsets themselves. And it's just a great experience for them and for me also. And walkthrough videos as well. I think especially if you start the video where they're standing in the garden and then just quickly flip it on their eyes, and they can just see everything and they just relate to everything straight away. And even things like if you had to come back and like remove some planting or change the planting, such an easy process, and then they can just see what it's going to look like. They can see how it's going to develop when it's being built, and it's just a great process really. Great, so this is the headset. This is an Oculus Quest, and obviously that goes on your head. And once you've plugged it in, uploaded your image to it, stick it on, and these are your sort of joysticks, as you say, and you just basically use it to point at a computer screen in the same way you do a mouse. So you just point to the gallery, select the image you want, and then there you are, you're into VR straight away. And then you can look up and down, left and right. You can also click on different images, swipe to a different angle. So if you're looking down the garden, say, to back to the house, you can click next and then look back up the garden towards the house, or from any view that you position. It moves with your head, so you can look up, down, left and right. All designs are done so with the correct aspect, and you can tell them what time of day it is as well. And you can also put your videos on, so you can have a complete walkthrough. Yeah, so hard landscaping, it can be pretty accurate, pending any detailed changes down the line. Planting is always conceptual, mainly because we tend to do the design first, do the VR. It's only really when the design is signed off that we concentrate on exact plants and exact quantities and exact locations. We always give like a conceptual view of proposed planting, but it really is vague, to be honest, because you wouldn't design a planting bed straight away if, for instance, you turn up, put the VR headset on, and then they don't like that planting bed there, or if they want to reduce the scope of planting. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot more people are interested in it, and definitely, like to go ahead with it. But there's also this added cost element as well. So it's sort of pros and cons really. Definitely gets more interest, more inquiries, but I'd say 25-30% convert into VR. Mm-hmm. I hope so. Again, it is all cost dependent. Always put a separate cost for VR if they're happy to do so. Sometimes I've done some for free in the past to try and generate movement. If you've got a very simple garden, it's very flat, and it's square essentially, or something like that, then you could transfer that very easily into VR. But the more complex the site, the more it's going to cost essentially. Yeah, I would, because it's not only, it's a great tool in terms of adding tech to the company, potentially getting more work in, but it actually allows you to design the garden better yourself. So as a designer, you're quite in tune with what you're designing anyway. But even when you put the headset on, it gives you a different view, gives you an idea of what the client's seeing straight away. Because we can all look at a 2D plan, but I might see it in one way, the client might see it in another way. So it's just yes. So it allows the designer to get a bit more involved creatively as well, I'd say.